Hello everyone. By the time you watch this, it probably won't be February anymore. We'll be into March, or maybe later down the line if you're watching this at a completely different time to when I'm posting it. But I thought I'd bring you today a February flip through of this book, and it's a good one. Mostly because I can show you almost all of the pages, which means it's good. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this flip through. I'll start with the first page because I've officially filled out the front cover page of this book now. This is what I've added since the last time. I've added a few of Bronte's new stickers, and I'll get to Bronte's new stickers in a minute. And I've added some of my new stickers. And I think they look pretty good there, and I think this means that this is now complete. Except I think I want something typewritten just here, and then we'll be complete. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you for anyone interested in the status update of this. It's now almost completely filled, and it makes me smile when I open the book, so it fulfills its purpose. See if I can get to the start of February first time. Here we go. Here's where we start with February. February has been an amazing month for me in some ways, and not an amazing month in other ways. It started off really strong with a journal meetup, and I've got all of the little messages from my friends at the journal meetup, which is always lovely to have in a book, and yeah, it means a lot to me. And it's all the people that I got to meet. I got to meet Pumpkin from Pumpkin Pages, Megan of Megan Rhiannon, and Joe of This Joe Journals. They're the people that I've met this time, so that was nice. And all the other people who I now know and have attended more than one meetup with. That's lovely. And I just love that you get kind of the different pens that people were using at that time, and they write little messages. It's always nice. It's a nice page to open to of the month. And I pre-decorated this beforehand, so this is what we've ended up with for February. This is like it's either from a tea or cigarette card pack, and some kind of vintage ephemera, and some of my stickers, and a little jelly glittery one that I got from Choosing Keeping. So yeah, this is an amazing first page, and I got some stickers from Brontë, who's released her new brand Dear Whoever, and she has her own sticker shop now, and you will see throughout the month I've been using all of Bronte's stickers because they're amazing. But it was nice to receive those in person, and yeah, to meet some new people. They make the month so much better when I see them. So that's what we started off with. And then we've got the ticket from the day. You'll see that I'm sure you know this by now if you've seen any of my books, but I don't tend to do it in order. This is from the 1st of Feb, and I've pasted it on the 3rd. It doesn't matter. I tend not to go by the dates anyway. But yeah, this is the next page. I got out my typewriter at the start of this month and finally bought a new ribbon for it, which I've been meaning to do since I got the typewriter in like 2019. So yeah, I've been using that liberally throughout this book, but mostly on pages that I can't show you now. I have been using them to type up like little field notes for when I go outside, which sounds ridiculous, but yeah, it's just nice to notice things when I go out and then write them in the book. But I've got some definitions here and a TBR, which I'm no further forward with, of course, as is the way, but it's nice to have that in there. And some more like testing out typewriters stuff on Filofax paper, because that's one thing I discovered this month was that you can use Filofax paper in a typewriter, and I found that quite compelling, and that put me in a bit of danger in terms of this book, because, you know, I found a new system that kind of would allow me to explore that interest. But I think I've discovered that I can just paste them in to this book and it's fine, and I've been using them as tip-ins and stuff, so it's all good. I don't think this book is under threat is what I'm saying. And I do have a typewriter, not a typewriter, a Filofax Personal. I'll show you. It's sat next to me. I got this in HomeSense for £10. These do not retail for £10, these leather Finsbury covers. But I've been using it to type up my dreams. I can't show you the actual dreams, but I've made like little dividers. I might put some of my field notes in here. And I've been typing up my dreams on blue Filofax paper with the typewriter. So that's been a fun experiment. But that's where we begin, is with the typewriting and everything else. And a London ticket from this day, because I did not have enough space because I had to write all about the meetup. Here we go. And I've been reading a lot of, I read it on the train on the way to London, but I've been reading a lot of The Notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland Allen, which I've talked about before, and have made upwards of 6 pages about it now, 2 in February, so I can show you the other one as well. But yeah, these pages are always decorated quite minimally because I have so much to say about these, and as much as I don't want to just record what I've read in the book, it is nice to go back and kind of write my overview in my words. So I've got that later, and I know roughly the things that were interesting me in the book. So I've kind of highlighted the bits in the book that I've then quoted in the margins, and any important words that I've kind of extrapolated and put here. But it means that if there is something that I'm thinking about more regularly, I can come back to these pages and look through them. So every time a new book type, like a new word for a book, is used, I write it on here, and roughly a bit about that book and what it was. So we've got a commonplace book over here. I've underlined the books in red. And yeah, I've learnt about portalans, and so I used one of my Our Flag Means Death stickers just because I thought that fit what a portalan was. It's like a ship book, a ship navigating tool, which is just so cool. I'm so glad I got to learn about them in this book. But yeah, so minimal decoration is required for these pages, so I used mostly my stickers, I think, to make sure I have a lot of space for the writing. This is one of my favourite pages in this book so far. And when I did it, I kept flipping back to it. And I know roughly now, when I flip through all these pages, which pages I can't show you, because I have profusely flipped back through the pages this month and viewed them. So I know roughly what I can show you and what I can't show you, which is always helpful, especially if your editing free trial has run out and you can't really edit the videos yourself. So yeah, this page is about galleons and galleon pendants specifically. So pendants of galleon ships. And then, I don't think this is a galleon though. This was just some random thing I found on the internet, and it kind of, the colours in that aren't quite right for me. I would say that shouldn't have been there, but it is there. So we live and we learn. But I've got these two that had kind of historical sources and thought were lovely pictures. I'd saved them for such a long time and then finally printed them. I wanted a full page to them, and I was still on the ship theme from looking at portalans here. a lot of my pages this month, I think because February was quite, it wasn't uneventful, it was just stressful for me, I think. And I didn't want to come back to this book and write a load of my personal thoughts about the month. So I came back and wrote like little bits of information about what I was reading, or I just let my mind wander about a topic and that was it. And here again I'm writing about externalized memory, which is a concept that I got from A History of Thinking on Paper. And I think I talk about the fact that that's what it was, and kind of re-expanded my own thoughts about the choice of words. There are so many choices of words in that book that I just think are perfect. I think one of the words that I got from last month when I was reading it was like the phrase was thrown into dialogue to describe the way when we commonplace, we throw everything onto one page and then thus into dialogue with each other, like the texts of different artists and creative people and writers. So I thought that was really interesting. And I wanted to, every time I come across a phrase like that in that book, it sticks in my head and I have to dedicate something to it. I have to write it down. So, and I'm quite happy with my attempt at this style of lettering, which I've been trying to do for a while now. This is not too bad. So, good page. And this is Bronte's stickers. This is one of my favourite stickers that Bronte's done for her Dear Whoever shop. And I feel so lucky to have been given them. But that's being turned into a die cut soon, which I'm also very excited about. Bronte's doing die cuts. Die cut vinyl stickers. And he's very pretty. So yeah, I just love the texture of the paper boat and the fabric with the owl. Just perfect. Brontë, that is perfect. So, and some of Megan Rhiannon's stickers. And then some of mine. Here we go. I'm back to the chaos pages. Has anyone seen any of my chaos pages in the past? I don't know, but that's something that I used to do in my old book and didn't do in January just because I didn't feel like it. And you'll see later on in this book, in this February bit, that I didn't do a playlist like I did for January. Did my January playlist. See, I'm getting better at navigating the pages now that I flip through them. But I haven't done a February playlist. I did a February chaos page instead. Because the one thing I found this month was that I didn't have enough room. And I don't know whether that means that I need an A4 book. Because what else is bigger than a Hobonichi cousin? Everyone complains about the size of it. But this month I found that I had to really be frugal about what decorations I used on the page. Yeah, and kind of frugal with my writing as well in a sense, because I wanted a perfect balance of both. I wanted everything. I wanted a full page of writing and a full page of decoration, which doesn't all happen on one page. So I've kind of had to find some smart ways of working through that. And you'll see that on the pages that I can't show you, I've tabbed in some like little book darts and put in my extra decorations and field notes stuff that I've typewritten on the computer. Not on the computer, on the typewriter. But yeah, I have some more Megan stickers here as well. It was lovely to meet Megan and get some of her stickers, and it was just very nice. So I had to include those. I feel like they've come back to all the pages, which is nice. And I love layering them with other things. I said to Megan in person, I was like, the way, the clean lines of her drawings and the neatness of them really contrasts everything else. Like all the other types of decoration that don't have quite the same clean lines. Does that make sense? But yeah. And I have a few of my own stickers as well. We've got Nessie here. And I like the chaos pages. They are just me throwing everything that I've thought about or watched, or little memories that I have at any given point in the month, and throwing them all onto one page so that it's like a snapshot of a few pages, a few days in that month on a couple pages. So I look back at this and know roughly what I was doing at one single point in the month. And that's nice to be able to see that and have a snapshot of that. They're a part of the whole picture that is my brain at that time, if that makes any sense. Now we're getting into the time when I got these stickers that I made. I'll show you them up close. I really struggled to do oil pastel stuff this month and was kind of beating myself up about it because I didn't have that many new sticker sheets to kind of add to the shop. You know, I always like to come back to the month with something new and different, but I really struggled to use oil pastels this month. But I did manage to work with clay, and I used the clay here, so that's nice to be able to see little clay scannings. I just scan them in on my iPad. I always just use the iPad notes scan documents feature to scan these in. That's what I do. We're back to, this is something that Brontë sent me, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that these were a thing, and I feel like A History of Thinking on Paper should have said about these, but didn't. Brontë sent me an article about palimpsests, and I hope I'm saying that right. You know what I mean. I've only ever seen it written down, is what I'm trying to say to you. So that might not be how you say it, but I've used a lot of Brontë stickers here. The kind of pearls are great. That was a great choice of Brontë to add some pearls to the stickers, to the sticker sheets, and also these keys. They are amazing. And I just thought they fit the theme of the page so well. And I've added some of my own like marginalia stuff, like these little things that are oil pastel stuff. And then these, which my sister got me for Christmas, is these kind of drawings of old marginalia in the kind of woodcut style. I thought they were cool. So we've added them. You can see that I'm obsessed with this. It's Nyrect Memorabilia washi tape. So that's what that is. Unfortunately, the shop that did sell this medieval folk woodcut washi doesn't exist anymore, or has like changed and doesn't sell this anymore, which is a crying shame because I always get questions about it when people see it on these pages, and I do feel bad being like, sorry, it's done. But yeah, so I'm sorry if you want to know where that is and you can't find it, but I think it's better that I tell you where it's from, or that you can't find it anymore, than I just leave you hanging. So if you've come across this video and you're about to type, where did you get that? I'm really sorry. Another page where I use these. I got really bored of it by the end, but in the middle of the month I was quite enjoying this washi tape. Used it on every page. This one reminds me of a ship log, so I had to have that in there. But yes. Another one of Bronte's stickers that's going to be turned into a die cut, and I'm very excited about that as well. But yeah, it feels so nice to be able to have people that I meet at the journal meetups stickers in my book throughout the month. That is lovely to me, and it makes me smile when I see them now because they remind me of the people. Very talented journaling people. And I love having the art of people that I've now met in my book. And I have these, which I made, and the grotesques have made an appearance. I've written upside down, so I just flipped the book around and wrote upside down. But I've been trying to think of ways that make the book more interactive for future me, so that the writing maybe is a bit obscured, so that I then have to go back and decipher it, or I have to interact with the book by turning it round to read it, or I have to unfold all the flaps of paper that I've put on the page so that I have to read it. And that's what I got from palimpsests as well, was the kind of, they're a great use of paper, and it's an environmental use of paper that people would write on the back of the parchment or scrub the writing off and then rewrite. But it's also part of their story is the recovery process of all the types of writing on that paper. And sometimes the writing that got scrubbed off was seen as more important now than the writing that the writing was scrubbed off for, if that makes sense. So I'm interested in the ways that you can kind of obscure your writing on a page and make the page more interactive for future you. And it's not that I generally think about future me when I'm doing these, but it is nice to think about every so often and kind of make it a bit trickier and find new ways of navigating the space of the page, which I feel like you get when you spend so long in a book, which is what I've spent in this book, this type of page. I've got to keep it interesting for myself. Here we go. This is a page I did. We've got loads of Brontë stickers as well, but also these are apple ones from Olive and Mabel, and this from miso paper, some miso paper samples that I kind of cut up, and a Snoopy from Olive and Mabel as well, and some Meg and Rhiannon stickers. But this was a page I decorated on call to Asa. Hello Asa, if you're watching this. I don't know if you will watch it, but yeah, we did some journaling video calls in February, and this was a page that I decorated on call to them. So I was obviously feeling a little sick of all the black colour scheme throughout February, which did feel right for February, and I stand by all of those pages that have darker decoration. But this was kind of a subconscious, half-minded page for me to make in between all that. I didn't think about it. I just looked at all my miso paper samples and went, these kind of fit a theme. And I went with the theme, and it got me excited for spring as well, so that was nice. And I have some little order notes as well. These are my favourite things, and they go with the page so well. How did you know, guys? This one's from Brontë, and then this one's from Hannah Bluish, who is also amazing and reopened their Etsy this month, so I jumped in. I went for it. And we're back to A History of Thinking on Paper. Again, I really needed the writing space, especially because there were so many new books in this part to talk about that I really needed the space, so I kept the decoration quite minimal, and I've covered the date here, which I rarely do, but it doesn't matter, and it kind of, I didn't do it on those days anyway, so I don't know why I've got a hang up about seeing the dates. I quite like the dates in the Hobonichi cousin. And I kind of messed up the spacing. This is something I rarely do now, but I did mess up the spacing a bit on that last sentence, and it goes off the grid, which never happens. But that's the thing about working in a book for so long as well, is that your mind subconsciously gauges how much writing can fit the lines, if that makes sense. Like, I would know roughly when to stop, and sometimes you do get kind of an awkward space, but I know roughly that when my thoughts run out, the page is going to run out. That's how I've figured out it works in the Hobonichi cousin for me and my book. Is that when the page runs out, my thoughts run out. So yeah. No, I haven't done this one yet. This is the only page in February that I haven't completed yet. It's just, I wanted a space to write down everything I've been learning about grotesques and the different facial expressions that they can make, roughly the cultural meanings of each one, so that I've got a running list and I can remember it better because I've written it down. Writing things down always encodes things into your long-term memory better, so it makes sense to me to write them down, even if I don't use this page for future reference, which I think I would throughout the use of this book actually, is go back to this. And I've been getting better at navigating the pages and knowing which ones say which things, if that makes sense. Like going through the index and remembering which pages are useful for future reference. I've roughly showed that one on Instagram, but I can't show you this page, so I'm just going to skip it. We're at the end. We've reached March. And I love these pages so much. I got towards the end of the month, I've been treating myself to kind of a few stationery bits in the month where I've kind of deliberated on them and then bought them. So I bought, it was called like a Grim Dark Ephemera kit, and I can link it below if you want me to. And it had this kind of, I think this is in Cologne or something, but it kind of fit the grotesque theme of February. I always find it difficult to decorate these pages on the right as opposed to the left. The blank pages on the right as opposed to the left is what I mean. Because usually I'd have March and then the first page of March. Whereas this month we've got the last page of February and then the cover page for March, which doesn't make sense in my brain. So I always have a hard time decorating these ones. But I thought I'd continue and kind of echo the darker themes of February, like the darker colour schemes. I still need to put something here, but I thought I'd honour that while still adding some pops of green as kind of a hopefulness for March and all the spring that it will hopefully bring. It's a sunny day today and I'm kind of chasing the sun a little bit, hoping it won't shine on the desk when I'm talking to you. But it's nice to have that and know that something green is coming. So I'm suspecting that March might turn into a bit of a green month. But then I can't show you that one, but I can show you this one. We're going for something a bit lighter. And I got a little book. My mum got me this yesterday. A tiny William Shakespeare book. I've always wanted a tiny book, and I've never had a tiny book, but now I have a tiny book. Imagine sitting in a waiting room and reading this and learning all about a Shakespeare play. That sounds like a plan to me. But I stuck in the sticker from the back of that book. And I've also got a friend who's got a birthday at the start of March, so I've kind of drawn that up in anticipation. I don't know if I'll show you it or when it's finished, but that's what we've got going in March so far. But I'm on my mission again to obscure the writing a little bit by adding some patterns to the page before I get the writing down and more typewritten stuff. This was kind of the compromise I made instead of doing a playlist page, which I didn't have time for or space for in February. And I didn't particularly like my playlist this month, but the songs that were good were really good, so I wrote them down. And wrote some lyrics to Canic Chase, which was a song that I really enjoyed this month. So yes, I feel like I've just sat here and gone blah 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 blah, but I wanted to kind of get this out for you. And I really like the idea of making this a monthly thing where I go back and show you my pages. So I hope this wasn't too erratic. I feel like I rushed through it. But these pages mean a lot to me, so I'm kind of hoping I haven't rushed through it. Oh, the book darts are struggling with 2 bits of paper. Oh no. So I kind of hope I haven't rushed through this and you did get something from it and you can see what I was thinking about. There aren't a lot of personal thoughts in here. Not this month. A few important purchases, like a brooch. I've been wanting this Wedgwood brooch for ages. It's the anchor of hope with the goddess of fortune, Titch. And it's kind of jasper Wedgwood with a sterling silver kind of outside with the little hallmark on the back. You probably can't see the hallmark, but yeah. I've been wanting that since the summer of 2024 and one finally came up at a good price, so I figured I'd have it. And I think I'm gonna need to stick it on like my Delphonics pencil case or something. But I don't want it to get ruined because I thought about putting it on my coat, but I don't want it to break or to lose it. But yeah, I've been focusing a lot on tools this month. I mean, I've acquired a lot of nice new stickers, but the typewriting has been really valuable to me. Having the typewriter flip through some pages for you has made a lot of difference. I just love the texture. It adds a different font to my book without it being a digital book, if that makes sense. Typewriters at the minute to me feel like a bridged gap between analog and digital, in that when you're writing by hand, your kind of consciousness has to slow to match the pace of your writing, and I write quite slowly, whereas with typing your consciousness kind of speeds up and you get through thoughts quicker and you can capture everything better, I think, sometimes, when you've typewritten them, and you can type as fast as you can type. You can type faster than you can write. That's a very roundabout way of saying it, but that's what I mean. And this page means a lot to me. The journal meets have just been great. I'm trying to show you, because I did January's flip through in like the middle of January, so I don't think you saw these pages. Some extra bonus pages for you now, for the YouTube people, because I did post this on Instagram, but I don't think you saw it. I think you saw this one. I could be wrong. I don't think I talked about this in the video, so I don't think you did see it. But it's nice for you to be able to see the pages in motion, I think. I think these were probably blank when I flipped through them last for you, and they're not blank anymore. But this writing is my dad's handwriting. This was in the Radio Times that we got in December, and I flipped through it just to tear pages out so I could use the pages as protection for my clay to like save the table. And I found this with his writing on it, and I was like, well, I can't not journal about that. I can't not save that for the journal. What do you mean you've written on it and you were gonna throw it away? How dare you? So I saved it, of course I did. And a vinyl sticker that he got. That's not just a vinyl sticker, like it was actually from a vinyl, like a record. So that's nice as well. And some tea tags. Good deco on this page. I'm never worried about my book being only one thing, because I feel like there aren't enough words to accurately describe all that one single book could be. I don't think you do necessarily have to compartmentalize everything and make a book that's entirely of, say, junk journaling or reading journaling. If you do want to do it all in one book, I don't feel like you should have to compromise on that. So if the compartmentalizing is troubling to you, if you can't keep up with your reading journal and your planner and your junk journal all at the same time, and it's overwhelming. Do it all in one book, and it doesn't matter. You'll find a way to navigate it. And that's why the Hobonichi cousin is good for me. The paper's been a bit rubbish, but I think that's what sparked the tool kind of fascination for me this month, was that I couldn't use my fountain pen in some of these pages. I know they're probably fine in the daily pages, but I just got sick of the occasional bleed through. And I don't always mind bleed through. There's some ghosting here, and I don't mind ghosting particularly. It's the bleed through that gets to me. But yeah. So it's been nice to kind of experiment with different tools that don't bleed or ghost in this book. Like the typewriter stuff that I can kind of do on separate paper and then paste in. I love the layers and the little index clips. I'm having a very tool heavy month where all I can think about is index clips and little things. But yeah, I shall stop rambling now. I shall leave you be. I hope this was somewhat useful to you. And I hope you have a good day. A good journaling day. Thank you for sitting with me while I ramble about these pages. Bye.